she's back, talking about her mom, her new man, and her incredible comeback.
How close to death really were you?
A Jane Pauley exclusive, the Dateline interview.
September 11th.
From our studios in New York, here again is Jane Pauley.
Remarkable is something you come to expect from Liza Minnelli. Indomitable, that too. The show must go on spirit. That's the story of her life. She calls herself a thoroughbred, bred to a life in show business. But with her famous pedigree comes a legacy of pain and problems that would level just about anyone else. But not Liza. She's back again, propelled by her own will and newfound love.
Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad, but the world goes round.
Her father was Vincent Minnelli, the Hollywood film director. Her mother was Judy Garland, the legend. From her mother's early death at 47, fans have followed her fame and misfortunes. A year and a half ago, Liza Minnelli lay close to death in a Florida hospital.
How close to death really were you?
Pretty close. I'd say I was pretty close.
She survived a rare case of viral encephalitis, but the prognosis wasn't good.
I couldn't walk and I couldn't talk, and they told me I wouldn't.
Ever?
Ever again. After I was told that, everybody left the room, and I turned my face to the wall, and I just started to go, A, B, C. Oh, you know, but that's what it felt like. And I just kept doing it over and over again. Had to get to Carnegie Hall, rehearse. I want to live. I've always wanted to live.
Wherever we go, whatever we do.
Liza at 17 with her mother. It's 1964. The theater is the Palladium in London. It was a moment people described as electrifying.
It is a funny story because it's extraordinary what happened.
It happens to be.
She started to applaud, you know, and she said, "Yeah, go, get him, girl. Yes, yes, my baby, you go ahead." It was the second song. And I see her going, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, go, baby." Just like that. The fourth song, I looked and she was redoing her makeup. Suddenly, my mother didn't come back on. Judy Garland came back on.
But Liza was strutting her own stuff now.
If you've ever been on stage with Judy Garland and kept up, you could be on stage with anybody and keep up. Because she was the best.
Liza kept on keeping up. At 25, she won an Oscar for Cabaret. But by her 30s, she'd been treated for alcoholism. In her 40s, she'd had her first hip replacement. In her 50s, a second. Her Broadway show a year and a half ago wasn't up to par, is what producer David Guest was thinking last summer when Michael Jackson wanted Liza on his 30th anniversary TV special.
Michael said, "This woman's the most talented performer he's ever seen in his life." He said, "You gotta have her."
And what was your response? A little dubious?
Very.
Why?
I didn't want to tell her, you know, you're on a show with Whitney Houston, Destiny's Child, and Mark Anthony, and all these people, and what if she couldn't cut it?
You are
Liza went on to bring down the house. When you met Liza, she wasn't the woman I'm looking at right now, was she?
The soul was the same, but she was heavier.
A lot?
A lot. I say around 94 pounds. She goes, no, it's 70. And I told her point blank, you've got everything to live for. You've got such talent. Your back's singing great. Lose the weight. And she went and did it. And look at her now.
David Guest is widely credited with turning her life around. But what about his? A 48-year-old bachelor, happily married to his work, was buying a 3.5-carat diamond engagement ring.
I took Liza up on top of the building I live in and overlooking the whole city and got down on one knee. I said, I love you, and I'd like to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me? And she said yes.
Did you know it was coming?
No. And I thought, David, you know that I don't want to get married. I've told you I don't want to get married. And out of my mouth came, yes.
May I see your ring?
Certainly.
You actually are worth a lot more than Liza financially, aren't you?
Lots.
Rumors follow them around like paparazzi. He's younger. No, he's older. She says he's in culture shock.
Michael said, welcome to the club. And it's hard at first. You look at what they're writing, you go, I can't believe they're saying this. You know, should I go out there and tell them every girlfriend I've had? Should I tell them how much money I have?
You know, Elizabeth said to me, tomorrow it'll be on the bottom of the bird cage. And somebody else will be on the front page. Don't worry about it.
And the great thing is I just went and bought a bird.
One story that was true wasn't reported. Liza had fallen off the wagon.
It was a very lonely, lonely Christmas and a very lonely New Year because, you know, you have to say to people, well, she's here, well, she's there. And then the tabloids, of course, found out. And they were kind this time. They were kind.
Liza had been in a show he produced at Madison Square Garden.
About 3 days before, you don't mind that I tell this? Because it's the truth, and maybe we'll help somebody.
I know, dear.
I realized there was a little bit of a problem 3 days before, and then 2 days before. And the day of the show, she was fine, standing ovation, brilliant performance. Afterwards, we had a big party at her house. And it got to her because she felt that maybe she needs a drink or something to keep up.
I felt like I was caught between a rock and a hard place. And I've been told that I was raising my hand quite a few days before saying, I think I'm going to drink. I got to get some help.
Anonymity is a luxury she's never had. Nor did Judy Garland, also an alcoholic, but not, Liza says, an abusive mother.
I was really supported emotionally from my family. I really was, despite what everybody says, you know.
Well, what does everybody say and what was the truth of it?
Never had a horrifying family relationship with my mother. She was great to me, you know. Her disease was complicated and I didn't quite understand, but nobody knew anything then.
But now, Liza is focused on the future. You're getting married on March 16th.
Yes.
It sounds epic.
Sounds? Yes.
The Marble Collegiate Church in Manhattan is preparing for 1,500 guests, many of them as famous as the bride. Elizabeth Taylor is the matron of honor.
She's like my surrogate angel. She's my sister, my mother. She's a wonderful human being, and she's been there for me my whole life.
David's side of the altar will be no less resplendent. Michael Jackson and his brother Tito. There's got to be a story there.
We grew up together since we were about 12. We lived in Encino. And, you know, we did everything kids do. You know, bought records, played basketball, did everything that normal kids do.
Between them, Liza and David seem to know everybody. The reception promises to be the hottest ticket in town.
I've been in the business a long time and worked with a lot of groups, a lot of acts, and most of them are very close friends, so it's turning into a jam session.
They're our family, they're our community.
Queen,
you know.
Brian May's coming from England, Elton's coming.
80-piece orchestra?
An 8-piece orchestra. Yeah, so it's
People have been really generous.
I think so.
they've been wonderful, and I mean it's a special day. It's, you know, it only happens once in your life. Well, maybe 4 times. But as she says, this is number 4 ever.
And at the age of 56, after 4 miscarriages, Liza may finally be getting the family she's always wanted.
Liza's always wanted children, so we're adopting a few children.
Seriously?
It just seems to me that with all of the things that I've learned and that my parents taught me, it's time to pass something on. And David's made that possible. Sometimes your dreams get broken in pieces, but that doesn't alter a thing.
After the honeymoon, she opens in London, where she debuted almost 40 years ago. They're calling the show Liza's Back.
A winter, a fall, and a spring.
Which begs the question, where has she been?
Where's she been? I think it's where's she going.
Liza can claim a distinction that eluded her mother and most everyone else in show business, entertainment's Triple Crown. In addition to her Oscar, she also has an Emmy and 3 Tonys, plus an honorary Grammy to complete the set.
And that completes Dateline for this Wednesday. We'll see you again for Dateline Friday at a special time, 8/7 Central. I'm Stone Phillips, and for all of us at NBC News, good night.